world is on mute. No one can hear that.
Good evening, everybody. Good Yontiv, Gemar Hatima Tova. Welcome to Pasadena Jewish Temple and Center. We are delighted and honored that you have decided to join us to celebrate the holiest day of the Jewish year, Yom Kippur, starting with our Kol Nidre service. Before we begin, if you have any technical difficulties at all, please feel free to reach out to us, BERYL at pjtc.net, or call the temple office if you need to. We're available on Zoom and on several live streaming platforms. Wherever you're coming from tonight, you're in the right place. And we're going to get started in just a moment by sharing another video that we prepared for something that happened earlier this evening to honor this beginning of Yom Kippur with two members of our davening team who are joining us both actually and virtually, Betsy Kahn and Jill Goldwright, lighting holiday candles.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav, v'tzivanu lahadlik ner, shel Yom HaKippurim.
Amen. We're about to begin the Kol Nidre service. Many times we have a lot of people here, a lot of past presidents of the temple, people taking turns holding Torah scrolls. Tonight, we are going to, the cantor and I hold the Torah scrolls in honor of all the people who have served this community faithfully, our presidents, our lay leaders, and the ark is going to be open in honor of Jeff and Jennifer Tabosky, Jeff being our current board president. We're going to open the ark, and when we do, I'll ask you to, if you're able to, remain standing for while the ark is open, while we proceed with Kol Nidre.
As Rabbi goes and gets the Sefer Torah, representing all those who were on the Bima in years past, all the presidents and past presidents, I invite you to close your eyes, to lean on the words and the melodies of this awesome night, and to imagine each one of us next to you, hoping for next year in Jerusalem if you choose to, but definitely here at PJTC together. If you are in the Mahzor, I am in the middle of page 204.
ולישרי לב שמחה אור זרו על הצדיק ולישרי לב שמחה יד זרו על הצדיק ולישרי לב שמחה אור זרו על הצדיק ולישרי לב שמחה יד together. אור זרו על הצדיק ולישרי לב שמחה אור זרו על הצדיק ולישרי לב שמחה בישיבה של מעלה ובישיבה של מטה על דעת המקום ועל דעת הקהל אנו מתירים להתפלל עם עבריינים.
Page 205.
Kol Nidre Vesarei Vacharamei Vekunamei Vechinuyei Vekinusei Ushavut מיום כיפורים זה עד יום הכיפורים הבא עלינו לטובה כולם איחרת נאון כל הון יהון שרן שיכין שביתין ותלינו מבוטלים שביכין שביתין ותלינו מבוטלים לשרירין ולקיימים נדרנה לא נדרי ואסרנה לאסרי ושבועתנה לשבועות Kol Nidre Vesarei Vachramei Vekonamei וכינויי וכינוסי ושבועות דין דרנה ודאישתבנה ודאחרימנה ודא סרנה על נפשתנה מיום כיפורים זה עד יום הכיפורים sharan leon kol yehon sharan shvikin shevitin betelin umevutalin shvikin shevitin betelin umevutalin la sharirin vela kayamin nidrana la nidre Vesarana la esarei Ushvuatana la shevuah Kol Nidre Ve'esarei V'charamei Ve'konamei V'chinuyei V'kinusai Ushavuot Na na na, udei shavana, udacharimna. Venasana al nafshatana miyom kippurim zeh ad yom kippurim Icharat naveon Kol hon yehon sharan Shvikin shevitin betelin umevutalin שרירין ולקיימין נדרנה נדרי ואסרנה לאסרי ושבועתנה לשבוע ונסלח לכל עדת בני ישראל ולגל הגר בתוכם כי לכל העם בשגגה סלח נא לעוונם זה כגודל חסדך וכאשר נסעת לעם הזה ממצרים ועדנה ושם נאמר ויאמר אדוני סלחתי כדבריך.
Because this is the first and only time we'll do Kol Nidre this year, we have our traditional blessing, the Shehechianu, which will be right with us.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam שהחיינו וקימנו והגיענו לזמן הזה. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם שהחיינו וקימנו והגיענו לזמן הזה.
Thank you, everybody. I'm going to put this Torah scroll back over here, and the ark is going to be closed in just a moment. I'll ask you to please remain standing for our call to prayer, the Barhu, which you can find on page 207. Please remain standing, 207.
ברוך אדוני
seated as we continue on page 207. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam.
ומעביר יום ומביא לילה, ומבדיל בין יום ובין לילה. אדוני צבאות שמו, אל חי וקיים, תמיד ימלוך עלינו לעולם ועד. ברוך אתה אדוני.
Baruch ubaruch shemo.
המריב ערבים.
In just a moment, we're going to say the second blessing before the Shema, Ahavat Olam, on page 208. Before we do, I want to give you a bit of reminder for this holiday. After the next blessing, we're going to go right into saying the Shema, and we like to not have a break between this blessing and the Shema, so I'm telling you now, when we get to the Shema, after you say the first 6 words, the custom is to say the next line, Baruch Shem Kavod Malchuto Le'olam Va'ed, Balachash, or Sota Voce, sort of under your breath, except on one day of the year. In honor and memory of the high priests who in the temple days would pronounce the whole of God's name only on one day a year, every year on Yom Kippur, after the Shema, we say the Baruch Shem Kavod line out loud. So I wanted to make sure that you were prepared for that, and we'll do that for this Shema and every time we say the Shema throughout Yom Kippur. So with that, let's continue with Ahavat Olam on page 208.
אהבת עולם, בית ישראל, עמך אהבת. תורה ומצוות, חוקים ומשפטים, אותנו לימדת. על כן אדוני אלוהינו, בשוכבנו וקומנו, השיח בחוקך, ונשמח בדברי תורתך, ובמצוותיך, לעולם ועד. כי הם חיינו ואורך ימינו, ואורך ימינו, ובהם נהנה יומם ולילה. ואהבתך אל תסיר ממנו לעולמים. ברוך אתה אדוני,
Baruch Shemo.
אוהב עמו ישראל.
Amen.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Le'olam ועד.
ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך, והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך, ושיננתם לבניך, ודיברת בם, בשבתך בביתך, ובלכתך בדרך, ובשוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם לאות על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך, ובישעריך.
Continue the second passage of the Shema on page 209 at your own pace, and we'll pick up together in the middle of the page in just a moment. Let's join together for the third passage of the Shema in the middle of page 209. Vayomer Adonai el Moshe lemor, daber el bnei Yisrael, ve'amarta alehem, v'asu lehem tzitzit, al kanfei bigdeihem ledorotam, v'nadnu al tzitzit hakanaf batil techelet, v'haya lachem letzitzit, uritem oto, uschartem et kol mitzvot Adonai, ועשיתם אותם, ולא תטורו אחרי לבבכם ואחרי עיניכם, אשר אתם זונים אחריהם, למען תזכרו, ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיהם, אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים, אני
אדוני אלוהיכם.
אדוני אלוהיכם אמת.
אמת כל זאת, וקיים עלינו כי אדוני אלוהינו זאת.
Continue on page 210. Before we conclude this blessing, we're going to get to a passage that is a quote of the song At the Sea. When we get to Michamocha, know that this is part of the song that our ancestors sang when they were delivered from Egypt and made it to safety and burst into a song of spontaneous joy, asking, who is like God among all who are worshipped?
ומלכותו ברצון קיבלו עליהם משה ומרים ובני ישראל, לחנו שירה בשמחה רבה, ואמרו כולם, מי כמוך באלים אדוני, מי כמוך נר בקודש, נורא תהילות עושה פלא. מלכותך ראו בניך בוקע הים לפני משה ומרים, זה לי ענו ואמרו, אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד. ונאמר, כי פדה אדוני את יעקב וגאלו מיד חזק ממנו,
ברוך אתה אדוני
Baruch Hu Baruch Shemo.
גאל ישראל.
Amen. On page 211, we bless God who allows us to sleep peacefully and awaken us again to life. Hashkivenu on page 211.
Ashkeveinu Adonai Eloheinu L'Shalom. For a moment of peace, we pray together. Ashkeveinu
Eloheinu L'Shalom ve'hamidenu malkeinu l'chaim. Ashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu L'Shalom ve'hamidenu shomreinu l'chaim.
ושמור את צאתנו ורעינו לחיים ולשלום ואתה והעולם.
Ashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu L'Shalom ve'hamidenu malkeinu l'chaim. Ashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu L'Shalom ve'hamidenu shomreinu l'chaim.
Shalom, 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 shalom. Baruch atah Adonai,
Baruch Shemo.
הפורס סוכת שלום עלינו ועל כל עמו ישראל ועל ירושלים.
Amen. We continue on page 212, about 5 lines down from the top, page 212.
כי ביום הזה יכפר עליכם לתאר אתכם מכל חטאותיכם לפני אדוני תיתנו, כי ביום הזה יכפר עליכם לתאר אתכם מכל חטאותיכם לפני אדוני תתארו.
In just a moment, we're going to continue with the Hatzi Kaddish, which takes us into the private Amidah of Kol Nidre, of this Erev Yom Kippur. Hatzi Kaddish is kind of a place marker, a mile marker, a waypoint in any service. That's why we have so many of them. But for this Hatzi Kaddish, first we lift up God's name, and then we enter into a place of private prayer. We have the Amidah in the evenings, but in the evenings we don't say it out loud. This is a time where you can have a private moment. And if you choose, you can use the words on the page from our tradition. They are strong. They will support you. It's also true that whatever is the prayer of your heart for this year or just this evening, that's the appropriate place and time to say that prayer. So after the Chatzi Kaddish on page 212, we'll go right into your personal Amidah, which will be on the following pages.
יתקדל ויתקדש שם ברבה
Amen.
בעלמא דברי חירות וימליך מלכות בחייכון ויומכון ובחיי דכל בית ישראל בגלה ובזמן קריב ואמרו
Amen.
יהא שמי רבה מבורך לעולם ולעולמי עלמיה יתברך וישתבח ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא ויתהדר ויתעלה יתהלל שמי דקודשה לילה ולילה מן כל מנחתה ושירתה תושמחתה ונחמתה גם ירם בעלמה ואמרו
Please rise for the Amidah. It begins on page 213.
יהי שלום בחקת שלווה בארמנותיים. 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 יהי שלום, יהי שלום בחיקך שלווה בארמנותיים. יהי שלום בחיקך שלווה בארמנותיים. יהי שלום בחיקך שלווה בארמנותיים. יהי שלום בחיקך שלווה בארמנותיים.
At this moment, we are going to open the ark to share the song Ya'aleh with you. The song can be found on page 223. I'll ask that you, if you're not already standing, to please rise when the ark is open. And for this prayer, the honor of opening the ark belongs to Martha Ruffman. Please rise.
יעלה תחנוננו מערב ויבוא מבוקר ויראינו נינו עד ערב, עד ערב. יעלה קולנו מערב, ויבוא צדקתנו מבוקר וירא פדיוננו עד ערב, עד ערב. יעלנו ינו מערב, ויבוא שמחתנו מבוקר ויראה זעקתנו עד ערב, עד
As the ark closes, you may be seated. We're going to continue praying together on page 226. Page 226.
אל ערך אפיים אתה, ובא לרחמים נקראת. ובא לרחמים נקראת, ודרך תשובה הורית. גדולת רחמך וחסידך תזכור היום, ובכל יום לזרע ידידך. תפר עלינו ברחמך, כי אתה הוא בעל הרחמים. ויצא על כנפיך כיום תבוא צוינו כיום. ויעבור אדוני על פניו ויקרא, אדוני אדוני רחום וחנון, ערך אפיים ורב חסד ואמת, נוצר חסד לאלפים, נושא עוון ופשע, וחטאה ונקה. וסלחת לעווננו לחטאתנו ונחלתנו. סלח לנו אבינו כי חטאנו, מחל לנו מלכנו כי פשענו. כי אתה אדוני טוב וסלח, ורב חסד לכל קורך.
We continue on page 229, page 229.
אל מלך יושב על כיסא רחמים, מתנהג בחסידות, מוחל עוונות עמו, מעביר ראשון וראשון, מרבה מחילה לחטאים וסליחה לפושעים, עושה צדקות עם כל הבשר והרוח, לא כרעתם תגמול. לא ראית לנו לומר 13, זכור לנו היום ברית 13, כמו שהודעת לעניו מקדם, כמו שכתוב. וירד אדוני בענן, ויתייצב עמו שם, ויקרא בשם אדוני, ויעבור אדוני על פניו, ויקרא אדוני אדוני אל רחום וחנון, ערך אפיים ורב חסד ואמת, נוצר חסד לאלפים, נושא עוון ופשע, וחטאה ונקה. וסלחת לעווננו לחטאתנו ונחלתנו. סלח לנו אבינו כי חטאנו, מחל לנו מלכנו כי פשענו, כי אתה אדוני טוב וסלח, ורב חסד לכל קורך.
Continue on page 232.
אל המלך יושב על כיסא רחמים, מתנהג בחסידות, מוכל עוונות עמו, מעביר ראשון ראשון, מרבה מחילה לחטאים וסליחה לפושעים, עושה צדקות עם כל בשר ורוח, לא כרעתם תגמול. אל הורית לנו לומר 13, זכור לנו היום ברית 13, כמו שהודעת לעיניו מקדם, כמו שכתוב, וירד אדוני בענן ויתייצב עמו שם, ויקרא בשם אדוני, ויעבור אדוני על פניו ויקרא אדוני אדוני אל רחום וחנון, ערך אפיים ורב חסד ואמת, נוצר חסד לאלפים, נושא עוון ופשע וחטא וסלחת לעווננו ולחטאתנו ונחלתנו, סלח לנו אבינו כי חטאנו, מחלנו מלכנו כי פשענו, כי אתה אדוני טוב וסלח ורב חסד לכל קורך. אוי אוי יזין אדוני תפילתנו. 5. כרחם הבלבנים, כן תרחם אדוני עלינו. אדוני ישוע עמך ברכתך סלם, אדוני צבאות עמנו, משגב לנו אלוהי יעקב סלע. אדוני צבאות, אשרי אדם בוטח בך. אדוני יושיע מלך יננו, ויום קורנו. סלח נא לעוונם הזה כגודל חסדך, וכאשר נסעת לעם הזה ממצרים ועד הנה, ושם נאמר, ויאמר אדוני, סלחתי כי דברך.
Page 233. For the next prayer, Shema Kolenu, we're going to be opening the ark. Please rise when the ark is open. Page 233. וקבל מרחמים וברצון את תפילתנו, השיבנו אדוני אליך,
חדש חדש ימינו כקדם אל תשליכנו מלפניך ורוח קודשך אל תיקח ממנו אל תשליכנו לעת זקנה ככלות כוחנו אל תעזבנו אדוני אלוהינו אל תרחק ממנו עשה עמנו אות לטובה ויראו שונאינו ויבושו כי אתה אדוני עזרתנו וניחמתנו אמרנו האזינה אדוני בינה הגיגנו יהי רצון אמרי פינו והגיון ליבנו לפניך אדוני צורנו וגואלנו כי לך אדוני יאכלנו אתה תענה אדוני אלוהינו.
As the ark is closed, you may be seated. Our God and God of our ancestors, do not abandon us. Do not forsake us. Do not shame us. Do not annul your covenant with us. Draw us close to your Torah. Teach us your mitzvot. Show us your ways. Open our hearts to revere your name. Remove the hardness from over our hearts to love you. Then we will turn to you faithfully with a perfect heart. And as befits your own great name, pardon and forgive our sins, as the psalmist wrote, for the sake of your own name, forgive my sin, though it be great. We continue on page 234 with Kianu Amecha. The ark is closed, you may be seated.
Kianu Amecha ve'ata Eloheinu anu vanecha ve'ata avinu anu avdecha ve'ata Adoneinu anu kehalecha ve'ata chelkeinu oy 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 anu nachalecha ve'ata goraleinu anu tzonecha ve'ata roheinu anu charmecha ve'ata noteinu anu fe'ulatecha ve'ata yotzreinu oy 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 anu ra'ayatecha ve'ata dodeinu anu segulatecha ve'ata kerovei oy 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 anu amecha ve'ata malkeinu anu ma'amirecha ve'ata ma'amireinu.
We are insolent. You are gracious and compassionate. We are obstinate. You are patient. We are sinful. You are merciful. Our days are a passing shadow, but you are the one who truly is for time without end. Our God and God of our ancestors, hear our prayer. Do not ignore our plea. Our God and God of our ancestors, we are neither so insolent nor so obstinate as to claim in your presence that we are righteous without sin. For we, like our ancestors who came before us, have sinned. Please join us on page 235.
We continue at the top of the page. We join together.
Ay, 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 גזלנו, דיברנו דופי, הבינו והרשנו, זננו, חמסנו, כפלנו שקר. Together. יעצנו רע, כיזבנו, לצנו, מרדנו, ניאצנו, שררנו, אבינו, פשענו, שררנו, כישינו עורף, רשענו, שיחתנו, תיעבנו, טעינו, תיתנו, יאללה לילה, יאללה לילה, יאללה לילה, סרנו ממצוותיך וממשפטיך הטובים, ולא שווה לנו, ואתה צדיק על כל עלינו, כי אמת עשית ואנחנו הרשענו.
So that was the shorter confession. Please join us for the longer confession, which begins on page 237. Page 237. Notice that all of these don't say I, they say we, for we are all responsible for one another.
על החטא שחטאנו לפניך באונס וברצון, ועל החטא שחטאנו לפניך באימוץ הלב.
Let's say this responsively if we can. We have sinned against you unwillingly and willingly.
And we have sinned against you through hardening our hearts.
We have sinned against you thoughtlessly.
We have sinned against you in idle chat.
We have sinned against you through sexual immorality.
We have sinned against you openly and privately.
We have sinned against you knowingly and deceitfully.
And we have sinned against you by the way we walk.
We have sinned against you by defrauding others.
And we have sinned against you in our innermost thoughts.
We have sinned against you through forbidden trysts.
And we have sinned against you through empty confession.
We have sinned against you by scorning parents and teachers.
And we have sinned against you purposely and by mistake.
We have sinned against you by resorting to violence.
And we have sinned against you by public desecration of your name.
We have sinned against you through foul speech.
And we have sinned against you through foolish talk.
We have sinned against you through pursuing the impulse to evil.
and
We have sinned against you
wittingly
willingly and unwillingly.
For all these sins, forgiving God, forgive us, pardon us, grant us atonement.
We join together.
ועל כולם אלוה סליחות, סלח לנו מחלנו, כפר לנו.
We have sinned against you through denial and deceit.
And we have sinned against you by
taking bribes.
We have sinned against you by clever cynicism.
and we have sinned against you by speaking ill of others.
We have sinned against you by the way we do business.
And we have sinned against you in our eating and our drinking.
We have sinned against you by greed and oppressive interest.
And we have sinned against you through arrogance.
We have sinned against you in everyday conversation.
And we have sinned against you through conspiration.
conspiratorial glances.
We have sinned against you through condescension.
And we have sinned against you through stubbornness.
For all these sins, forgiving God, forgive us, pardon us, grant us atonement.
Together,
ועל כולם אלוה סליחות, סלח לנו מחלנו, כפר לנו.
We have sinned against you by throwing off all restraint.
And we
we have
have
sinned
sinned
against you by
rashly
rashly judging others.
We have sinned against you by plotting against others.
And we have sinned against you through selfishness.
We have sinned against you through superficiality.
And we have sinned against you through stubbornness.
We have sinned against you by rushing to do evil.
And we have sinned against you through gossip.
We have sinned against you through empty promises.
And we have sinned against you through baseless hatred.
We have sinned against you by betraying trust.
And we have sinned against you by succumbing to confusion.
For all these sins, forgiving God, forgive us, pardon us, grant us atonement.
Together,
ועל כולם אלוה סליחות, סלח לנו מחלנו, כפר לנו. ועל כולם אלוה סליחות, סלח לנו מחלנו, סלח לנו מחלנו, כפר לנו.
Please join us on page 243. Page 243 for Avinu Malkeinu. Please rise as the ark is open.
אבינו מלכנו, חתן לפניך. אבינו מלכנו, אין לנו מלך אלא אתה. אבינו מלכנו, עושה עמנו למען שמך. אבינו מלכנו, חדש עלינו שנה טובה.
Please join me responsively on page 243 in the English. Avinu Malkeinu, we have sinned in your presence.
Avinu Malkeinu, we have no sovereign but you.
Avinu Malkeinu, act toward us kindly in accord with your name.
Avinu Malkeinu, make this a good new year for us.
Avinu Malkeinu, annul every harsh decree against us.
Avinu Malkeinu, nullify the designs of our foes.
Avinu Malkeinu, frustrate the plots of our enemies.
Avinu Malkeinu, rid us of every oppressor and adversary.
Avinu Malkeinu, rid your covenanted people of disease, war, hunger, captivity, and destruction.
Avinu Malkeinu, forgive and pardon all our sins.
Avinu Malkeinu, do not look toward our sins and transgressions, blot them out.
Avinu Malkeinu, return us to your presence, fully penitent.
Avinu Malkeinu, send complete healing to the sick among your people.
Avinu Malkeinu, remember us favorably.
Avinu Malkeinu, inscribe us for good in the book of life.
Avinu Malkeinu, inscribe us in the book of redemption.
Avinu Malkeinu, inscribe us in the book of sustenance.
Avinu Malkeinu, inscribe us in the book of merit.
Avinu Malkeinu, inscribe us in the book of forgiveness.
Avinu Malkeinu, החזירנו בתשועה שלמה לפניך. אבינו מלכנו, שלח רפואה שלמה לחולי עמך. אבינו מלכנו, זוכרנו בזיכרון טוב לפניך. אבינו מלכנו, כותבנו בספר חיים טובים. אבינו מלכנו, כותבנו בספר גאולה וישועה. אבינו מלכנו, כותבנו בספר פרנסה וכלכלה. אבינו מלכנו, כותבנו בספר זכויות. אבינו מלכנו, כותבנו בספר הסליחה ומחילה.
Please join me responsively. Avinu Malkeinu, cause our salvation to flourish soon.
Avinu Malkeinu, cause your people Israel to be exalted.
Avinu Malkeinu, raise up your anointed with strength.
Avinu Malkeinu, hear our voice, be kind and sympathize with us.
Avinu Malkeinu, accept our prayer willingly and lovingly.
Avinu Malkeinu, do not turn us away empty-handed.
Avinu Malkeinu, remember that we are but dust.
Avinu Malkeinu, have compassion for us, our infants and our children.
Avinu Malkeinu, do this for the sake of those who were martyred for your holy name.
Avinu Malkeinu, do this for the sake of those who were slaughtered for their exclusive devotion to you.
Avinu Malkeinu, do this for the sake of those who went through fire and water to sanctify your holy name.
Avinu Malkeinu, do this for your sake, if not for ours.
Avinu Malkeinu, have mercy on us. Answer us, for our deeds are insufficient. Deal with us charitably and lovingly, and redeem us. Let's sing together near the top of page 244.
Avinu Malkeinu, Avinu Malkeinu, Avinu Malkeinu, Chanenu Vanenu, Yeinu Manu Masi, Asei Manu, Tzedaka v'chesed, Asei Manu, Tzedaka v'chesed, ve'oshienu, Avinu Malkeinu, Avinu Malkeinu, Avinu Malkeinu, Chanenu v'anenu, Yeinu
As the ark is closed, you may be seated. In a moment, we'll conclude this part of our service with Kaddish Shalem on page 245. 245, you may be seated.
יתקדל ויתקדש שם ברבה.
Amen.
ואלמד יברכרותו וימליך מלכותו וחי יכונו ובכונו וחי לכל בית ישראל. בגלה ובזמן קריב ויאמרו.
Amen.
יש מרבה מבורך לעולם ולעולמי עולמי.
Yitbarach.
יתברך וישתבח ויתפאר וידרוע ויתנשא ויתהדר וידרע וידרע שמי דקודשה.
Brihu.
לעילא ולעילא מן כל ברכתה ושירתה תושבחת ונחמת אדם מידם בעלמא ויאמרו.
Amen.
תתקבל הצלות ולמרתון לכל ישראל קודם ובהון דבישמיא ויאמרו.
Amen.
יש למראה משמיא והם חיים עלינו ועל כל ישראל ויאמרו.
Amen.
עושה שלום במרומיו הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל ועל כל יושבי תבל ויאמרו.
Amen.
Beyond any words, any songs, any prayers, any thoughts, ever spoken, ever hoped for, ever wished for, in this world, Leila. Open my eyes, open my heart, go beyond, in our world and next world, Leila. Shirata, Tuchehata, Nehemata, Daira, Leama, Leilu, Leilu, Amen. Leila, Leila, Leila.
We're now going to hear a few words from our president of our board of directors, Jeff Dabosky.
This was not the Kol Nidre that I anticipated. I was supposed to be speaking to you from a podium in our packed sanctuary, watching my kids shift in the less comfortable seats way in the back of the social hall. Tomorrow isn't the Yom Kippur that I anticipated. I was supposed to be lugging that beautiful but oh so heavy Persian Torah up and down the aisles, greeting each of you with a smile and a few happy words. This isn't the presidency that I anticipated. I was supposed to spend the next 6 months focused solely on our transformative journey, ending my term at a centennial gala that kicked off a year-long celebration. And when I think about all that, I feel sadness, loss even. But I'm an optimist by nature. And so for tonight, I'm going to focus on my primary feeling, gratitude. First, I know that by any measure, I'm incredibly blessed. This was not the Kol Nidre that I anticipated. I was supposed to be speaking to you from a podium in our packed sanctuary, watching my kids shift in the less comfortable seats way in the back of the social hall. Tomorrow isn't the Yom Kippur that I anticipated. I was supposed to be lugging that beautiful but oh so heavy Persian Torah up and down the aisles, greeting each of you with a smile and a few happy words. This isn't the presidency that I anticipated. I was supposed to spend the next 6 months focused solely on our transformative journey, ending my term at a centennial gala that kicked off a year-long celebration. And when I think about all that, I feel sadness, loss even. But I'm an optimist by nature. And so for tonight, I'm going to focus on my primary feeling, gratitude. First, I know that by any measure, I'm incredibly blessed. Even as the pandemic has ravaged through our world, I remain healthy, as do my friends and loved ones. I still have a job, and I am well stocked with toilet paper. The fact that the most significant impact of COVID on my life has been its effect on my PJTC experience means that I am doing so much better than so many others out there in the world. And I'm so very grateful for and proud of every aspect of our PJTC community. First, our clergy, who every day, while dealing with the pandemic's upheaval in their own lives, takes onto themselves the emotional and spiritual health of our entire community. When we call, they're there with a warm voice and meaningful insight. And every Friday night and Saturday morning, they appear on our screens, providing a meaningful sense of normalcy in this otherwise turbulent time. Rabbi Carrier, you joined us officially as our senior rabbi right about the time the world shut down. Your wisdom, humor, and steady hand has been exactly what we've needed. Canna Ruth, this is your third or fourth crisis with us. Your compassion, insight, passion, and moral compass, in addition to, of course, your beautiful voice, has helped us not just survive, but to thrive. I'm grateful for our executive director, Burl. Take a moment to think about the logistics of pulling off operating a synagogue virtually during a pandemic. Everything it takes to ensure that not just our services and programs happen, but all of the emails, operations, and member services do as well, keeping the staff focused and together, even though everyone is apart. To Melissa, who has kept our youth happily engaged and is transitioning so seamlessly into her new role focused on connecting all of us. Rabbi Amy, who designed and implemented a truly amazing virtual religious school program, and our cadre of teachers who infuse our kids with Jewish learning. Teresa and Lori, for handling our blizzard of ever-changing communication needs. Marion, who has been asked for a dizzying number of financial reports in these past few months. Daniel, for his willingness to tackle everything the religious school throws his way. Claire, I am constantly amazed by your ability to make sure so many are cared for and provided for when we're all miles apart. Our Gabbai Sandra, whose Hebrew skills are only exceeded by her dedication and patience. And most certainly Alex and RJ, who have found it's harder to maintain our facilities when they're hauntingly empty than when they're full of pattering feet and happy voices. I'm grateful to Sisterhood and Men's Club. You and your hundreds of members haven't missed a beat. The programs have been interesting, your generosity to our synagogue has been inspiring, and you work so hard to give our community a fantastic High Holy Day experience. Not just delivering prayer books, but also sweet reminders of our wishes for a great year to come. I'm grateful to our committees and groups like Religious Affairs, Social Justice, our Meditation Group, Adult Education, and Rabbi Mann's classes. You wonderfully bring people together who share common passions and interests wrapped in the penumbra of Judaism. Our volunteers are incredible people who week after week contribute so much to PJTC's operations, communications, and care for others. Our synagogue quite literally couldn't operate without their contributions, dedication, and heart. And I'm so very grateful for PJTC's lay leadership, the board of directors, who have tirelessly worked to make PJTC the best version of itself. They are brilliant, passionate people who challenge me and our staff in the best possible way, are an endless source of fantastic ideas, and provide the phenomenal variety of perspectives that exemplify the importance of diversity. As I was preparing these words, I questioned the wisdom of devoting so much space to sharing the gratitude I feel towards so many. But then I realized that in so doing, I was opening for you a window into the amazing depth and breadth of your synagogue. This is your spiritual home. The grand moments and the seemingly mundane daily operational focus that makes up the tapestry of our wonderful community. But there's still a huge aspect I have not yet mentioned. I am also so grateful for you. Without you, our synagogue is simply a building on Pasadena Drive. Your resources and generosity literally allow us to even be a synagogue. You give this place ruach, its breath, its spirit. You're the reason that, despite our physical distance, we continue to feel close. And you're what gives me confidence that we can walk the transformational journey needed for many years to come while maintaining the small synagogue warmth and sense of community that has made us thrive for the last 100 years. I have 6 more months before I pass the gavel and move on to what I'm told is the best position at the synagogue, that of past president. There's no coasting or letting up. I owe that much to all of the folks I just talked about. I owe that much to all of you. We're going to use these next 6 months to continue positioning PJTC to be a more relevant and meaningful part of your day-to-day life, to better connect with you, and to better help you connect with each other. I'm committed to handing my successor a synagogue that is poised to springboard out of this pandemic and vibrantly thrive for many years to come. We're incredibly well positioned to do so. The pandemic forced us to accelerate many of our priorities far faster than we otherwise would have done. Our online presence, improved communications, and focus on groups oriented around shared passions and interests are all keys to our long-term success. I know that, for many right now, while PJTC may be your synagogue, it is difficult to feel from a distance that it is a spiritual home. That while Judaism is your religion, it might not seem like an integral part of your daily life. And while you may know about our services, programs, and online gatherings, they may get lost in the midst of life's whirlwind of managing virtual school, jobs, family obligations, and the other stressors of pandemic life. I can't tell you when this will end, only that it will. For now, we're here for you virtually whenever and however you are able. And all of us so look forward to the day when PJTC once more becomes the place where friends warmly spend time together, where our sanctuary is filled with the words of our generations and the songs we cherish, and where each of us helps all of us grow closer to God. Gamar Hatima Tova.
Thank you, Jeff. That was really moving for me, just how Jeff sees the work that everyone here does and the work and the heart that everyone in this community has shared to make all of this possible. I can't echo all of that. I just want to make one note that I thought of when he mentioned our new facilities manager, Alex. I was having a conversation with Alex the other day, looking for a silver lining, if you'll indulge me. And I said, is it at least better that we don't have to pick up all the tissues and candy wrappers and things on the floor when this place is full of 1,000 people? And he said to me, I'd take the candy wrappers. That's the spirit that moves this place. Another spirit worthy of mentioning at this time is the spirit of tshuva. It wouldn't be Yom Kippur if I didn't have things to ask forgiveness for. And so I will say there are a few of you I've reached out to. I know, though I've been here a short time, there are always missed marks. There are always missed opportunities. And for those of you whom I've hurt, for those of you whom I have failed, I hope that we can restore trust and restore that connection in the year and in the years to come. Please forgive me. One thing in particular, when we were doing Kol Nidre in the way that we had to do it this year, my intention was to name by name all of the past presidents with all the cords and the papers and things like that. I couldn't find that list at the time, but one of our helpers here has given that to me, and I must share this name at this time. These are the people who would normally be on the bima for this and in whose honor I held the Torah. These are our past presidents who are still living: Jeff Landau, Faith Siegel, John Weiss, Matt Ober, Judy Callahan, Stu Miller, Sandy Hartford, David Lauren, Mark Essenston, Mickey Siegel, Brian Mark, Phil Callahan, Kathy Michaels Krasner, Marcia Alper, Ira Lowenthal, Art Taus, and Josh Pace. The greatest thinkers I know always claim to stand on the shoulders of giants. I have the privilege of being a part of a community where I get to stand on the shoulders of 17, and with our current president, Jeff Dabowski, 18 giants, a good Jewish number. Thank you all for all of you have done to support this community and make a welcoming home for me and my family. Before I share a little bit of Torah this evening, I do want to give you a fasting PSA. Someone had asked me to make sure that this is part of our message tonight. There are those in our tradition who are obligated to fast, Jews who are able to above the age of bar mitzvah or bat mitzvah. There are those who are allowed to fast. Those are slightly younger than bar mitzvah or bat mitzvah children who are practicing, those who are maybe not officially Jewish yet, but preparing to join the Jewish family. And then there are those who are by law forbidden to fast. For anyone for whom fasting in the traditional way, refraining from food and water for 25 hours, would in any way impair your health, the sages of our tradition say that you are not only excused, but forbidden from fasting. In Deuteronomy, it says that these traditions are given to you to live by. And the rabbis said later, and not to die by. So wherever you are, whatever you need to do to get through Yom Kippur in one piece, for when we can greet each other again, please keep an eye on your health. Home is probably a little bit more of a comfortable place to observe Yom Kippur, but unlike in the sanctuary where we usually have 16 or 17 doctors around, just please be careful is what I'm saying. With that, I would like to share just a little bit of Torah with you. First, in my preparation for tonight, I reached out to my colleagues on Facebook, because that's how we get together these days. There are rabbinic Facebook groups, I promise, they're really exciting. And they were saying, you know, what's your Kol Nidre sermon going to be about? And what kind of words, what kind of texts are you going to be using? What kind of current events? And I shared this story that I had heard from the Zen Buddhist tradition. And if I'm the first Jewish person to find meaning in Buddhist stories, please let me know. There was a story about the Buddha. When he'd been working for a while, he'd gained something of a following, and to give his sermon, he had to get in places that held a lot of people. So he went up on top of a hill that was surrounded by 10,000 of his followers. And everybody there was waiting. What is he going to say? What kind of wisdom, what logic, what analysis, what holy words is he going to share that move us toward enlightenment? And it is said in that moment, the Buddha put his fingers to his lips and held up one lotus blossom. And then he left. And it said that 10,000 people were enlightened that day. So my response on Facebook was, I was thinking of screen sharing a picture of a lotus blossom for 5 minutes. How do you think that will go? And I waited for a response, and I waited. And after about 2 hours, somebody said, Bahatzlacha, good luck with that. But I will say that my message tonight, I hope, is in the end simple. Throughout the holidays, I've been talking about the 3 points of navigation that have helped me get through the situation that we're in, and so I'm sharing them with you. The 3 guideposts that I steer by in uncharted territory, and they are the potential, the promise, and the purpose of Jewish life. On Rosh Hashanah, I shared with you what I believe to be our unlimited potential. Tomorrow, I will conclude our High Holy Days with the promise. Tonight, I want to share with you what I believe is the purpose of Jewish life, the purpose of existing within the Jewish family. And I believe that the purpose of Jewish life, in a word, is justice. Now, I know that talking to a diverse group of people with all sorts of views on religion, on politics, on economics, on law, on order, when talking about justice, I may benefit from a few disclaimers. Tonight, I will not be talking about your favorite cause. Tonight, I will not be talking about your least favorite person. Tonight, I did not come to confirm your biases. And I say, as it says in Pesach, he says, you excluding himself, I know I'm full of my own biases, and I know that there is a cable channel that'll speak to those. That's not what I mean when I say justice. To be clear with what I mean, instead, I want to, well, hold up a flower. I want to give you something simple from our tradition. It's a poem from our great literary tradition. As Will Durant said, all of the ancient Near Eastern societies had different artistic forms that expressed their values and helped them to varying degrees endure. The Egyptians had the pyramids, the Assyrians had their scenes of battle carved into walls, the Persians had their art, the Babylonians had the hanging gardens. Our contribution to the art of the ancient Near East, which I believe has been the most enduring of all of them, it's still a bestseller, is our literature. And here is a poem from that. I won't prejudice its hearing by sharing its provenance. If you've heard it, don't spoil for the others, and you will hear it again. Just to set the scene, this is an imagined conversation with God and God's self, wrestling with the feeling of a people who call to God and ask, why are our prayers not answered in our time of need? And this is how God responds. To be sure, they seek me daily, eager to learn my ways, like a nation that does what's right, that has not abandoned my laws. They ask me for the right way. They're eager for the nearness of God. Why, when we fasted, did you not see? When we starved our bodies, did you pay no heed? Because on your fast day, you see to your business. You oppress all your laborers because you fast in strife and contention, and you strike with a wicked fist. Your fasting today is not such as to make your voice heard on high. Is such the fast I desire, a day for people to starve their bodies? Is it bowing like a bulrush? Is it lying in sackcloth and ashes? Do you call that a fast, a day when Adonai is favorable? No. This is the fast I desire. To unlock the fetters of wickedness, to untie the cords of the yoke, to let the oppressed go free, to break every yoke. It is to share your bread with the hungry, and to take the wretched poor into your home when you see the naked, to clothe them, and don't ignore your own flesh. Then shall your light burst through like the dawn, and your healing spring up quickly. Your vindicator will march before you. The presence of Adonai shall be your rear guard. Then, when you call, Adonai will answer. When you cry, I will say, Hineni, here I am. If you banish the yoke from your midst, the menacing hand, the evil speech, and you offer your compassion to the hungry and to satisfy the famished creature, then your light will shine in darkness and your gloom shall be like noonday. Adonai will guide you always, slaking your thirst in parched places and give strength to your bones. You shall be like a watered garden, like a spring whose waters do not fail. This poem cries out to me one more sentence that's not there. If I can sum up, it's as if to say, you ask me when I will answer your prayers, says God. The answer is, when will you answer mine? I believe that the purpose of Jewish life is justice. And justice is complicated. Its definitions are fought over. Is following the letter of the law of the land justice, or is it something more? Is it distributive? Is it redemptive? Note, I'm not using the phrase here tonight, social justice. It's not because I don't believe in it. It's because I think the name, for all of its uses, can be divisive and it's redundant. I believe in Judaism, there is no justice that is not social. Justice is always personal, and it is always interpersonal. There are those who wrestle with this idea and say, you know, I've heard a lot about justice, but what about the mitzvot? What about the Torah? What about our traditions? Isn't that important too? Of course it is. These are our means. These are what bind us together as people and make us stronger. These are what sensitize us to the needs of the needy. We are to fast today to feel like what it feels like for those who fast every day. We are to lay our business aside so that one day a year, maybe we don't ask too much of those who help carry our load. We light candles to bring people together. We have celebrations of life cycles so that we can share our story and endure, so that we can endure for 4,000 years as the longest continuous witness of history and become the conscience of the world. You can ask, but what if I see justice differently than another Jew sees justice? What if our ideas are different? What if our economics are different? What if our politics are different? And even talking about these differences, what if that tears our community apart? My answer is twofold, maybe three. It doesn't have to. Not if we put the same energy into listening to each other as we spend in shouting at each other. And if you'll indulge me, bear with me, come back tomorrow. Because part of the promise of the Jewish family is how we will stay together. You may object, what if I can't? What if I don't have the means to give? What if I don't have the strength to march? What if I don't know where to begin? It doesn't ask the world of each of us. God's justice, I believe, starts with one small step. The purpose of human life, according to Solomon, is to eat, drink, and be merry. Be good to each other. The purpose of Jewish life adds one more element to that. Each day, for the rest of your life, check in with your heart. Is there some way it has become hardened? And is there some way today you can pare away that hardness and just see another person, just hear their pain? That is an excellent start and the beginning of justice. And you accumulate that strength through life so that on that day that the blood of your sisters and brothers cries out from the ground, you can answer as God does. Hineni, I'm here. I'm here to not stand idly by, but to stand with you. And if you cannot stand, to stand for you. Hineni, here I am. I believe that every one of us has access to this intention to wear away the hardness of our hearts, to answer the call how we may, so that together we can do what we must. And I believe, as Rabbi Abraham Joshua Heschel does in his book about the prophets, he says that in all the injustices in the world, actually very few are culpable, but all are responsible. It is our purpose. It is on us. Or as it says in Hebrew, Aleinu. Gemar Hatima Tova, may you all be sealed in the book of life. And for those whom I've hurt, please forgive me. Speaking of Aleinu, we're going to turn now to page 246 for Aleinu. This is where we begin to end our service. And the ark opening for Aleinu this evening The honor belongs to two people whom I believe are the pinnacle of patience and understanding. The honor belongs to Lawrence Harris and Cara Carrier. Please rise as the ark is open.
עלינו לשבח לאדון הכל, לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי הארצות, ולא עשה בנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם את חלקנו כהם, וגור עלינו ככל עמונם. ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא. על כן נקבל לך אדוני אלוהי נראות בניו ותפארת עוזך. כי המלכות שלך היא וללמיה תמלוך בכבוד, ככתוב בתורתך אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד. ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ ביום ההוא. ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד, ושמו
The ark is closed. You may be seated. At this time in our service, even as we take joy in sharing this moment together, we are reminded of those who are no longer with us. If you have anyone in your heart for whom you are mourning or observing a yahrzeit, I invite you to think of that name, hold that name in your heart, or say that name out loud wherever you are. And if you're currently in mourning or observing a yahrzeit, please rise and join me in Kaddish Yatom, the Mourner's Kaddish, on page 247. Yitgadal v'yitgadash Shemei Rabbah.
Amen.
Ba'alma divra kirutei v'yamlich malchutei b'chayechon uvyomechon uvchaye v'chol beit Yisrael. Bagala uvizman kariv v'imru. Amen. Yehi Shmei Rabba Mevorach Leolam Ulalmei Almaya. Yitbarach V'yishtabach V'pa'ar V'tramam V'tnaseh V'tadar V'taleh V'talal Shmei Dekudsha Brihu Le'ela Le'ela Mikol Birchata V'shirata Tushbechata V'nechemata Damiran V'alma V'imru. Amen. Yehi Shlama Rabba Min Shemaya V'chaim Aleinu, V'al Kol Yisrael, V'imru, Amen. Oseh Shalom B'imromav, Hu Ya'aseh Shalom, Aleinu, V'al Kol Yisrael, V'al Kol Yoshvei Tevel, V'imru, Amen. If you're standing, you may be seated. I have very few brief but important announcements. I want to thank everybody, staff, volunteers, leaders, everybody who made tonight's service possible, and I believe glorious. On tomorrow, we are continuing our celebration of Yom Kippur. Services start at 9 a.m. The Torah service will be at approximately 11 a.m. The Yizkor service will be within the Torah service at approximately 11:45. After the regular service, a little while later, we are going to have a meditation session at 2 p.m. And then after that, at 4 p.m., there will be a Torah study session with Rabbi Carrier, that's me. And then at 5 o'clock begins the rest of our services. We have Mincha at 5. You should know that for the youth and the young at heart, there is a breakout with Judy Callahan sharing Jonah's story. And then if you just stay in Mincha from 5 o'clock, it'll roll right through to Nila at 6, our final service. We'll do Havdalah and Tekiah Gedola at 7:30. And everybody is invited to break the fast wherever you are at 8 p.m. We encourage everybody to hop on Zoom for Havdalah at 7:30 tomorrow night. If you have a Havdalah candle, great. If you have a glow stick, we're using glow sticks these days too. Those were in the goodie bags that you got before the holidays. And stay on that Zoom call after Havdalah to break your fast with the community over Zoom at 8 p.m. The note says, bring your own food. You should know that in the coming weeks, this Saturday and Sunday, we have our first 2 days of Sukkot. And save the date, Shmini Atzeret is Saturday, October 10th, where we'll also be celebrating the bat mitzvah of Sydney Chavira. And then Simchat Torah is Sunday, October 11th at 9:30 a.m. Please stay healthy, stay safe. Remember to wear a mask, keep your social distancing. If you need to eat something to make it through Yom Kippur, you are welcome to do so. For everyone, I wish you a meaningful time of fast and that you are all sealed in the book of life. Please join us as we conclude this service with Adon Olam, which can be found on page 249. Page 249. If you want to sing along with us, it sounds better if you're standing up, so feel free to do so.
249.
טרם כל יציר נברא, לעת עשה בחפצו, אזי מלך שמו נקרא, ואחרי ככלות הכל, לבדו ימלוך נורא, והוא היה והוא עובר, והוא יהיה בתפארה, והוא אחד ואין שני, להמשילו להגמירה, בלי ראשית בלי תכלית, והוא העוז והמסתר, והוא אלי וחי גואלי, צור חבלי ועת שרה, והוא ניסי ומנוס לי, מנת כוסי ויורדה, בידו אפקיד רוחי, בעת לישון והעירה, ואם רוחי גביעתי, אדוני לי ולא יירא, ואם רוחי גביעתי, אדוני לי ולא יירא.
גמר חתימה טובה.
Good Yontif, everybody. Thank you for joining us. We'll see you tomorrow at 9 a.m.